Oh, it was recently my husband's birthday, and I originally bought a box cake to hand make for him. But as usual, I ran out of time and I ended up buying him a cake. So instead of making him a cake for his birthday, I ended up making a cravings cake and turning it into a bear. I used a coffee cup to make 2 ears, and then I cut the rest out with a knife and kind of just molded it to shape as I went. I cut the pieces in half eventually after molding the shape, just to get them to lay flatter on the cake and to make sure that they kind of blended into the cake. This was my first attempt at anything like this with the cake. This is a rough draft of how I wanted the cake to kind of look, and then I went in and just shortened the ears a little bit and shortened some of the pieces so that they fit like nice and flush onto the cake. So when I iced it, it didn't look like it was bulging too much out of the cake. And don't worry, the leftovers did not go to waste. I ended up smushing them together with the leftover icing and making little cake pop things. Okay, so we don't have a popping bag, but we're taking one of these bad boys, and then you just cut like a square. Wait, let me see if I can do it. You just cut a square out of the corner. Basically, if you have a corner that's not cut, you're gonna cut it here, and then you're gonna cut it here, and then boom, you have this all cut. Once you've cut a hole into the bag, don't do this while the icing's inside. Do it before putting the icing inside the bag. Then you're going to fill up the bag, and then you're going to get some sort of tape and tape the bag closed. I would recommend like packaging or boxing tapes that's nice and thick, because the outside of the bag does get a little bit greasy. Obviously, it's buttercream icing, and butter is kind of oily. So you are going to have to tape the bag a couple times around, like you see in the video here, just to make sure that the tape actually sticks to itself, and then it will in turn stick the bag closed. Because I tell you, I tried to tape it the first time around, and I ended up having to go a bunch of times because the first layer of tape kept slipping off of the bag. And I just went in a bunch of times with little drops of icing, and it kind of came out like this, and it made the bear look a little bit like hairy in a way. It's literally all in the flick of the wrist. You're going to just do tiny flicks the whole time, and this is how it looks. But if you press the piping bag and do a long soft drag, you get a leaf looking design from the same cut if you cut the bag that way. Obviously, this would have been a little bit easier if I went and got a piping bag from Checkers, but this was like a last minute creative thing that I decided I felt like trying, so I just went with what I had. I'm genuinely quite impressed with my makeshift bear cake, and I'm looking forward to trying more animals in the future and different things, because I really love baking, and yeah, I like making it very artsy. I don't want to just bake normal things. It's my creative way of turning a boring 2-layer cake into something interesting. Maybe next time I'll do a little bit more detail. But for now, this is our practice run. This is how the bear came out, and I think she's pretty cute actually. If you enjoyed this, follow for more artsy projects, and leave a comment on what animal cake you want to see next. Stay blessed, and catch you in the next one.